It's a good thing I know him because he's my boy. He ain't no plain toy. He's Palm Beach Mike, and he brings me joy.
I haven't been a boy for a long time, brother.
No, sir. No, sir.
All due respect to your rapping skills. What's going on, people? It is
boys.
Community. No, you can always be a boy.
Oh no, we didn't start it off. Oh no, 29 seconds into it, y'all. It's all over with. Blow it up.
Yeah, I can't connect with that one. But
if you'd like story.
If you want to be the boy, that's fine. It's been a while for me.
You can't be
guys. What's going on? It is Nah, at all. What's going on, brothers? This is a community beacon. You see, me and the brother is not in alignment or agreement.
Not with him. I'm in alignment with me.
Yeah. Yeah. He's aligning to being a boy. That's fine. I reject it. I reject it. This day on Community Beacon. It's Friday. It's December. And we're getting into this, man. And we're having an open discussion on connection. I'm here at Palm Beach Mike. Mike, I think I might start calling myself Michael. Palm Beach Mike here at Northern Palm Beach County. And of course, on the other side of the screen, you have, what do you want to be, the brother or you want to be the boy, Joel Simmons? Which one, brother? Whichever one you want.
No matter what they've called me in the past, present, or even in the future, I always exude who I am. I am the I am. No, I'm not him. That's God. But I got him in me.
Tenacity Foundation.
There it is.
That's one of those. Okay. Okay. Let's get into this conversation, brother. Before we got on the live, you mentioned that you had a phone call that made it an interesting day for you. So we can start there as we get into this. We start our series on connection. What's going on?
Yeah. You're not gonna roll the tape.
I can't even find it. Give me a second.
Oh. Yo, check the mic, 1, 2, Beacon is the name. Lights up the city, ain't playing no games. Joel Simmons and Michael Seville, the vision is clear. Dropping knowledge, conquering all of your fear. Beacon, that's the sound of the future. The main hosts are here, they built the whole structure. Community strong, we rise from the ground. The beacon power up, yeah, time to look up.
There it is.
Let's go.
Let's go, man. Let's go. Man, it has been quite an interesting day on multiple levels. You know that I left out of my house late and got to my son's school early. And I didn't speed. Earliest I've ever gotten to school, leaving that late. It was just crazy. The whole day has just been shifting in that type of direction. Made it out to the gym, connected with one of the fellas up there, worked out a little bit with him when I got the phone call that my grandmother had gone into the hospital. And I was like, okay, I'm just that's it. I did my workout. I was there for about 40 minutes. Put some time in there. Definitely put some work in there. I'm good. And then when I walked out, I got a chance to meet up with my brother right there, Palm Beach, Michael. And I appreciate you too, man. You're good. You're good. Your mind is good, because you thought about that thing quick. You were trying to ascertain, or you were ascertaining what it was that was going on in my life, showing your care, your empathy, and you realize, he's in the middle of that thing right now. He was like, okay, we'll talk later. You know how many people don't do that? They drive to get one little piece of information, a little bit more. They're just not aware of what's happening at that very moment. I noticed that, man. I definitely wanted to give you a shout out about your ability to just sense that, to be in that moment at that very moment, and to really think about that. Like, okay, yeah, I want to know. Maybe there's something I can do to help. Maybe there's this. Maybe there's that. But at the end of the day, the brother is going through it right now. And if I wasn't here, he probably would have kept on going about his business, doing his thing. Let me just let him handle his business, and then we'll connect. And maybe you didn't think about any of that stuff. But that was the way it was displayed. Like, much love, do your thing. You know I'm here. Short. Guess you don't have no comment back on that, huh?
I don't know what it is. It's not too much I can say about it. I tend to be. I'm always I'm always working on being in the moment, and you know, studying psychology, like, it would have got me nothing if I didn't notice the signs that the brother had to go. Right? We could have had a conversation, I'm sure, and you probably would have allowed it to happen. Um, but we know that, and prayers up for your, definitely observed your grandmother thoughts up to her, and her recovery and healing, right? Um, but yeah, it was, I think it's a lot of simple connection. The brother informed me of something, and being in the moment. I love that you use the word empathy. That's a part of the connection process, especially in dealing in relation with other people. It's to kind of empathize with where they are at the moment. And anytime you get a call saying that a loved one is in the hospital, right? Your mind could be going all kinds of different ways. So yeah, brother, it's nothing, man.
That's interesting. Well, it was something to me. So, I definitely appreciate it. And I appreciate you. It was definitely a good sign. Talking about the word connection, that was just like a good sign of how we can be present and connected, right? This is honestly, I know that Mike, you kind of just like, it was very simple for you, probably something easy, but just to the audience, the viewing audience, honestly, that's a high level of thought process. There's so many people that just cannot capture that at all. They cannot. They cannot get beyond their own skin. They can't. Some people, they just want to help so much. And you may not be able to do anything at all to be of service, except for like what he did. Like, just let them go handle their business, right? So there was a high level of thought process that happened in a very short amount of time. You guys tuning in, if you didn't hear that part of the story, rewind, later on, and you can understand. Because that, to me, that was very deep. And with I've worked with thousands of people, like literally thousands of people over the last 25 years, helping them get through spaces. And I wasn't even able to get through spaces like that years ago. It's something I can do now. And it's because I'm looking for certain cues. I'm looking for them. So when I'm talking about it's a high level of connection, I'm saying that for me, it took me a long time to be able to start to see something like that and to witness that happening for me today. Like, that's why I'm bringing it up and I'm putting it out there, because it doesn't happen frequently. It doesn't happen frequently. It definitely doesn't happen almost ever, if not never, with people that are outside of my immediate circle. Like, never. If they're outside of my immediate circle, I don't know if it's ever happened. And inside of my immediate circle, still there's still few. So high level.
Let's unpack that, because I mean, but I do want you to get to your story.
Oh,
That's
that's
what I
okay.
was.
This could be the
Well,
story.
yeah. Well, when I paused, that's what I was waiting for. I thought that we were transitioning into your story, because I still want to hear it. I'm definitely um, in wonderment about what exactly that phone call was like. I heard just one name, and so I know that that meant a lot to you. So we definitely have to get to that piece of it. Um, let's unpack that part. When you say it's a high level of connection, um, I heard the word empathy. What other values or qualities are needed in your mind to perform at that level? You know, to where it's appreciated, by someone else. Although I don't necessarily think a person should do it to be appreciated by somebody else, but in this case, you said you appreciate it. So what are you? Let's dive into that. I think this would be dope to unpack.
So what exactly are you? So you said you don't want to necessarily be appreciated. And what exactly is the question? If you don't mind me
Man, we
asking
going
you one a second time,
we
or if you
we
just want
we
me to jump in.
I wanted you to jump in. I'll give you just a brief thing. For me personally, or in my experience, whatever it is that I do, because I'm so connected with self, the result doesn't even matter, right? If I were to expect it or whatever, like I think it's cool, right? I'm definitely appreciating when people appreciate. That's probably why we connect on such a higher level oftentimes. It's because we both show appreciation. Some people, and I think some people need that. So that's kind of what I was saying. Like I do it just because uh it's just being in a cheerful and an empathetic mode for me, right? It connects with me, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, man. Well, I mean, it's just so from my viewpoint, being able to connect with somebody else and see what they're going through and accept what they're going through and accept whatever it is that you're able to contribute and just leave it right there, and that's your contribution. That's pretty impressive. That is very impressive. That's very impressive. And so that doesn't happen so frequently, right? It doesn't happen frequently. It's something that, as a matter of fact, doesn't happen, quite frankly, almost at all. So what am I talking about? First, let's talk about the exchange. I'm walking out the gym with my cell phone. I see the brother. We connect physically. Handshake, hug. We connect verbally. Hey, what's going on, bro? Hey, man, all is well. We share an emotional moment, which is, just the exchange of gratitude. That's a vibration style type of thing. And in that moment, there is an exchange of something that is pressing. I exchange something that's pressing, right? My grandmother's in the hospital. She just went in, right? It's pressing. That's something it's a situation I'm dealing with currently, and it's a pressing thing that I'm going through at that very moment, right? Somehow, Mike, and you can explain your own way, he recognizes that I'm in the middle of it right at that very second. So that takes a connection. I don't know. Maybe I said something like this is happening right now. Maybe it was the way I looked, the way I moved. He can explain that. But whatever it was, he saw it, he heard it, or he felt it, that this was very present. It was happening now. And this is me thinking outside the box. I don't want to put anything on you, Mike, but at some level, it appeared that he felt or he thought that I could handle whatever it was. And the only thing he needed to do was separate from me so that I would have the space to take care of what was going on. And he gave me an opportunity. If you need me, call me. And he kept everything very short. Now, something like that, I believe that is a high level of connection. Some people may call it intuition. Some people may call it discernment. I believe that those are different pieces to a connection. We can also add some other high level words like empathy and compassion. However, when utilizing some of these words, they can still be used improperly in the moment. This was the right thing for me at that moment. Why? One, it was pressing. I was moving in a pace to deal with it. Two, I'm strong enough to handle it. I really don't need any further resources at all. I just need some space. That's it. But I don't need any help, right? Three, if I did need help, I am the type of person that will get it. I'm not going to say immediately, but for the most part, I'm going to get it immediately. I'm going to go to my God, I'm going to talk to God in prayer, and then after that, I'm going to go to a person and speak with them if I still need that direction, right? So all of these things are in my process, and whatever your process was, Mike, is what your process is. But to be able to see, to feel, to touch, to understand, and then to make the appropriate move at that moment was the thing that I did like this, telephone, whether it was in my ear or whatever, but just to give people understand, I did like this. Which is just me saying, that was good. Like I literally paused in my mind. I was like, that was good.
I love it, brother. And you named a lot of the values that what I heard that are a part of the process of connection. Whether first off, I appreciate you for calling it high level. I often think that what I do is like the standard because I don't want to be above anybody or below anybody. I think we're all people, and there's certain just standards of ways that we should engage with each other. I'm not attempting to put judgment on anybody, but at the least bit of it, a lot of this is just being respectful, and it's just the standard for me, right? And people, and once again, why the brother and I think connect so much is because and he spoke about it earlier about the being of in something like he said I'm being right before he said something he at the beginning of the show when we were joking around he said I'm just being in this thing, right? Which is so that when he's saying this is being, this is his standard of living, right? So when it comes to these what I'm going to call micro moments, right, where we can recognize this, it's just a part of this living, right? You can the principled living. First off, the brother spoke about an interesting day. I think it, and I don't know if I said it on air or off air. I think every day is interesting. What's so interesting about today is that the brother got up, was late, getting out of the house, and ended up where he was early. That's number one. Then gets to the gym, whatever. Now, I just think about how powerful, because how powerful the Most High is to me is that this serendipitous meeting, right? 30 seconds earlier or 30 seconds later, we would have missed each other. So just within itself, if I'm walking out, I know he tends to be there, so the probability is going to be higher, right? If the brother lives someplace else or went to another gym, but I still think the probability of just the meeting was serendipitous. There was a reason for this meeting, whatever it was. And so that from the beginning, it's already going to put some type of joy within myself. And and wonderment. We'll get into this connection piece and the process. I'm going through a class with connection, but the wonderment of it is like, isn't this interesting that as I'm walking in, the brother is walking out, right? So, and then we come and then we meet and we embrace. When me and the brother embrace, this is part of it. There's a vulnerable. It's just a vulnerable moment, like to let somebody in that close, right? We're just not letting everybody within our space, so it's already that close. That changes. That's connection. That changes the dynamic already. I think as a part of connection, there has to be some source of vulnerability involved in it. And then after that, the brother says, "Hey, you know what? This is occurring right now." Right up until that moment, everything stops for me because this is the moment to me, right? If we're talking about the being, this is the perfect moment for connection. Whatever, and it don't matter what he could have said. He could have made a joke. Brother, you're getting kind of swole here, whatever, or he could whatever, but it just happened to be something else. So now it's about being impartial about what's going to happen next. I don't know what's going to happen next. I just know that in this moment that we're connecting. And it just so happened to be, the situation, which now to me brings in this empathy. Wow. A loved one or someone that I know is in the hospital. I think I don't know if you were on the phone at the time or whatever, but this is that. And even that, think about this, people. Some people get on the phone to ignore other people. I don't know if we notice this sometimes, and I had to get out the habit of it. I don't even need to look at my phone. I just looked at it 15 seconds ago, right? Like when I was walking up. But when I'm walking, I might just pull it out just because this is a sort of, it could be a defense. Like I don't want to engage at this time. But he stopped the phone call, which it makes this moment even more special to me. And deliver this news to me. Now I'm in empathy of it. Okay, so this is going on. The empathy is like, I'm not in the brother's feelings, but I want to be with the brother. And I felt that in my body, like I don't know if the brother noticed, but my whole face was just like, huh? You know what I mean? Like it was like, ooh, brother, if you need me, meaning I'm with you, call me. Is she, was anything prior? That's all I want to know. Was anything prior happening? He's like, I said, all right, brother, don't even worry about it. Just go and let me know, right? And whether you and this is the impartiality part of it, where the results. I don't care if the brother called me back or what. Now I'm in this moment. I'm with him, right, in spirit, just like, oh man, I'm gonna observe the brother because this possibly is a tough time for him. I know he can handle it. He's handled whatever he's handled up until this point, so I know he's strong enough for it. But my thoughts and prayers are still going out to him and his family, right? And even as I was walking up to the first machine, that was my thoughts. Right. So that was just a micro moment. But when you're in the being of all this stuff, when we get up and we choose to have connection first, and I know we'll get into it as we continue the series, first with myself and the Most High, or whatever it is that a person wants to do, whatever you want to do, whatever a person does, you have that initial connection. And then and throughout the day, my modus operandi is to have it all. So sometimes people will be, I don't know if you ever, if a lot of people see me, if you're watching this, maybe you do walk around like, it's just like, boy, Mike is just he's just in his in his processes mode. But I find so much comfort and joy in just, all right, what's going on, right? What are these feelings that are happening? What is this logic? How is my mind moving in this kind of way? Okay, I'm connecting. And at the moment when someone else enters this space, right, or we're engaging, we can offer them that as well, right? We can offer it to them. I don't know if they want to take it or not, but it's a time for us to be a giver, right? Take as much, you can't even take it off as far as I'm concerned, but it's a time for me to be a giver and to be impartial about whatever is going on. You said something and I wrote, allow people the space. And I love for you to, you respond to everything, but I definitely want you to touch on that as well.
Allow people the space. I like that. Before I answer that, just
yeah, take your time.
I like that you put in that vulnerability. That's good. That's good. vulnerability is there's a lot of key points in vulnerability. Just when you think about connection, like connection, if you want to connect anything, you have to come to a point where it can connect. And generally that has to be, it's an unsheathed method, right? An unsheathed method, right? So connection is when, if you think about physical things, it's when two things don't have a guard on them, they can then connect. So that's super important, that vulnerability, because it's a form of unsheathing oneself to be connected. Like if you want to connect with yourself, you have to unsheath yourself. You have to take yourself to a point where you're no longer trying to protect yourself from yourself, right? You're not lying to yourself, so to speak, right? So that's unsheathing, is like I am in full acceptance of who I am. Okay, now we can start moving. If you want to connect with God, you have to unsheath yourself. It's like, okay, this is exactly who I am, and if you want to have true connection with other people, relationship development, true connection, you have to be willing to be vulnerable. You got to unsheath yourself, because the minute they find out that you were wearing a mask the entire time they knew you, you have just become a liar. You're not worthy of being a friend, right? So I just love that you brought up vulnerability. So space. I think space is so very important. And I don't mean like space in the atmosphere and all that type of things and stuff like that. But space is just really important because there's like so many different levels of space. Like there's space in the mind, like quiet your tongue. People can think when there's no speech, space. That can be distance. Sometimes we encroach so closely. Sometimes you got to put distance, right? Sometimes space can be, let me just leave it right there. Those two things. With those two things of space, you give someone an opportunity to think, which means they possibly will process whatever they're going through with some level of distance. And distance can be, again, it can be the silence. It could be the actual physical space, right? So there's emotional space, mental space, spiritual space, body space, right? So there's essentially 4 different ways of giving somebody space, right? And all of these things are basically like stepping into a non-judgmental zone, and you're almost in a permission zone where the other person is asking you or telling you if you have permission to be within this comfort, within this vulnerable zone that they're in. So high level, guys, gals, high level thought process. And when I say high level, I mean brain, mindset, not necessarily brain, but mindset, high level, because it's when I'm not bringing my judgment about your spirituality, but I'm just there to make sure you're okay. It means I'm not having judgment about what you're saying, right? Sometimes we say stuff that is cruel, that is mean, because we're going through pain, right? And people are just like, you're talking about me. Gone. I'm not helping you. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. But their feelings get hurt. Gone. I'm not here for you anymore. But you got to, if you can separate that and give them the space to be broken, right? They're broken. That's why you're helping them. So if they say broken things, can you give them the space to say the broken things and understand it may not have anything at all to deal with you at all? Like literally so many arguments have gone down that pathway. And if you were only able to keep still and keep your mouth shut, you would have got the same apology that you are now giving because you opened your mouth and said something that you wish you hadn't. So many times I've had to help people through that right there, because one person is having a day that they cannot handle, and they strike out on whoever's near, which is generally going to be somebody that they've allowed into their space. See how precious that is? And when they got into the space, they couldn't deal with what they were going through. So they struck the person while they were down and don't even know it. Now the two are fighting against each other, and everybody's apologetic at the end of the day, right? Or maybe they are, maybe they're not. So those 4 different places of space, it's just all about a non-judgment zone. It's more about, how do I help you? And what does that look like to you? Mind you, it is not what it looks like to me. So whatever your bias is, you take that and you put it away. I ain't saying you put it in a trash can, but you put it in the back pocket. You file it. And you begin to just think or pray or meditate. How do I help this person? If you want to help them, because if you don't want to help them, just leave. But if you want to be a help, then you need to start thinking, what is the best way I can help them? And it's not necessarily always what you think is the right thing. But generally, people will tell you what they could use. And Mike, this is something that I've used so many times in the field. Some of these guys, they will look at me, they'll be like, patients right there. They're like, so what's going on? Da, 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 da. Okay, so when did it start? Question. Stop. Now the patient don't want to talk to you no more. They need space. They're clustered. They're flooded. They need space. They're confused. Oh, but I could easily, you could easily deal with that, because you're at the level of your consciousness of what you're dealing with and your experiences and what you've learned. All of those things are wrapped up inside of you. It makes you who you are. But that person, they don't have what you have. So this is a higher level. They're not there. You got to meet them on their level. You don't have to become them. You don't have to do like them, but you have to recognize they may be a step, 2 steps, 3 steps, a plateau, 3 plateaus. They may be on the 3rd floor and you're on the 10th. Stop yelling down the stairwell. Walk down there and say, yo, how can I help you? And they'll tell you most of the time. That's what I mean by space.
Love it. I'm currently doing a course on connection, so it's interesting. Well, I guess it wouldn't be interesting. It's highly probable that I will be talking about it, and we'll be talking about it. And so, they use the framework view. So vulnerability, we spoke on that already. And one of the things that you just brought up now, brother, was, which is the I, which is being impartial, right? Not necessarily attempt to move as many biases as possible that you may have. No one's going to do it perfectly. We've all been socialized to at this point, and we've had a set amount of experiences to where it's very, very hard to remove the biases, but at least becoming aware of it. And then, of course, the empathetic part of you. So being the empathy, and then the last part was wonder and being curious. I love meeting people where they're at, making sure a person knows that they have the capacity of it. I'm going to go again and state, just for clarification from my experience and my notice, is that the result really doesn't matter to me. Like the connection that I have within myself is it's just as long as I'm performing these things, as long as I'm being in the being, whatever happens after that is that. So I wouldn't call it higher consciousness. I wouldn't call it whatever. It's just my standard of being. So whatever, and there's times when I don't even have the capacity to help someone else. I may not necessarily have the tools to help someone else, but just a simple being at this level of being empathetic, being impartial, being vulnerable, being able to have the conversation is enough for me. I don't really put a stock in what is going on with other people in that kind of way, right? I I loved how you said that you would ask the patient the question. I think it's also important to figure out exactly where we are within this connection, where exactly we are meeting. I don't think it's I personally, I'm not going to go. I don't want to call it down. We're not going to necessarily align all the time. It's just impossible. I'm not going to align with people all the time. I may not necessarily. Some people may be vested in not being connected or being or attempting to be disconnected. I'm not going to overexert myself into someone's connection as long as I'm connecting with myself and what's going on. I think it's important as well that I know, because I wrote it down, was me and my father were having this conversation recently, was this connection, a connected event versus a transactional event. Because one thing that's been just happening in my mind over and over again is the performative nature of sometimes that can occur when people are, and I'm going to say, attempt to connect because of what they believe someone wants or the help they believe someone has, which is not being impartial at that time. So sometimes the people people aren't really asking for your help, right? In that kind of way, like an actual thing for you to do for them besides just the listening part of it. Some people just want to be heard and understood, and they may not necessarily want to leave from that space. So if you're not connected with yourself and the ability to sit here and listen and not to, because I definitely think there's a difference between helping and supporting and really just becoming this fixer, so to speak. I've found myself doing that, where I just want to fix things for people, and that's more so like managing and controlling something. I don't know, and nobody knows. Nobody knows exactly what's happening with somebody's. Whatever we're doing, we're creating something, and the creation could just be, oh, Michael listened to me, and that was enough. Today, it was just Mike allowed me my space to leave, right? And you were appreciative of that. There was nothing for me to say, oh, jump in the car, we'll go to the hospital, or I'm calling you because I want to have this phone call. No, the connection piece was just in allowing people to be where they are, and at the least amount at that time, listening at that time. Sometimes the best connection for me to have for myself is just to create a boundary. Okay, or to disconnect from something, not to somebody in relation to, and not necessarily never from myself, but from somebody else. So in my mind, like once it gets to that performative nature, this people pleasing nature, it becomes a transaction. What is this about? Oh, this person wants something for later on, or this person wants to be seen. This person wants to be validated. That's why they want to fix. Like I did, and these are conversations I'm just having with myself. Like, when for me does it become a performative thing, right? Because I notice when it's coming from somebody else, and the only reason why I know it's why it's coming from somebody else because I notice it within myself. So I thought that was an interesting thought that I've been having as of recent, brother. And I don't want us to get out. I know you got to go. You got a time on it?
No, not currently.
Yeah. I don't want to keep you longer. So yeah. I think as we get into this series, there's probably about a couple of things that I want to, from my point of view, is the connection with self. I think is super
Yep.
important. And if someone has, whoever, if you have a higher power or if you don't, it doesn't matter. The connection with self is important. I think we'll get into connection with others. I think that's dope. One thing I want to add to it also is the connection with reality / the truth. Somebody somebody got upset with me today because, or did I don't know if they got upset with me. Let me not make the assumption, but I commented that, hey, I appreciate this person's honesty. And they said, well, what's more important, their honesty or the truth? And I'm just like, I thought that was an interesting question for them to ask. I still don't quite understand what they meant by that, but and I did ask to get some clarification. And then connection with the environment, because the environment is seemingly important. So I think as we go through this as we mastermind on this and go through the series, those are some of the things that I definitely I'm going to explore. What about you?
That's interesting. So when you say environment, are you referring to things? Would things be a part of environment?
People, places, and things, for sure.
Okay. Then I'm good with that. I'm good with that. I like that. So I got down here for self, God, others, reality, environment.
It sounds the same.
Sounds good. I mean, that's just the way I wrote it down as you were speaking. So it wasn't like I came up with that or anything.
Oh, I thought you came up with it. I was like, oh, okay, we on the same. I mean, I think we're still on the same baseline.
Yeah.
I think it's an important topic, especially us going into this new year, right? I know most of us are hyped up as we go into this stuff. I think there's a lot of things coming down the pipeline. Constantly on social media, which is not going away, right? So I'm not arguing about it. I'm just saying this is what's happening. AI is about to come online, and I'm increasingly not even knowing whether this is AI or not. And so I think that's an interesting thought. And just this momentum as we go, start to gain or build or continue rolling out what we have going on with it within life. Figuring out this connection piece, I think it's going to be dope. I think it's similar to me to when we spoke about healthy some time ago, earlier this year. Like, this is, to me, this type of conversation seems to be pretty similar to it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Because I think that it's because it had so many different pieces to it. And a lot of those different pieces, they're transmutable. They just go across the board. So you can find them here, you can find them there. That's the beauty of what we do. It's the beauty of what we do, because it's a constant build on understanding. I feel like the more we go deeper into the understanding of it, the more it exposes how much we've already discussed about it from a different perspective, from a different viewpoint, on a different level. So I love it. And I love where we're starting off, because I know self is extremely important. This is taking us all the way back to identity. And one of the reasons why people have such struggle with identity is because they don't have a true connection. They don't have a true connection. So we get a true connection and things begin to flow. You know that in the brain, there's like synapses, and they don't actually touch. But like the proteins, and they have to jump across the synapse gap. They have to move, and the exchange is based off of, polarity. And so when we start talking about polarity, like when we were discussing, or when I brought up years ago, how I decided I no longer wanted to be multiple Joels. I just wanted to be one Joel. That's it. I didn't want to be the Joel that you met on the job, or the Joel that you met, inside of the place of worship, or the Joel that you met at the family gathering. I just wanted to be one Joel. And this was a really big thing for me, because it made me think, well, how many Joels am I? And what do those Joels look like? And do I actually support all of those versions of myself? And what does it look like to just be one version? Like, what is that exactly? So that whole process meant so much to me, because it really gave me the understanding of who exactly I am. Well, when I start talking about the connections, it's these thought processes that are going from one side of the brain to the other side of the brain, from the brain to the body, from the body to the spirit. It's just this interlooping connection. And sometimes there's like stoppers that are in between what we think we are and what we actually are. And they become disguised. Like, those stoppers become disguised, but they stop us from being who we really believe we are. And what we really are, we can't see. I hope this isn't
That's
too
big. That's big.
over the head for somebody. We end up having these stoppers that stop us from being who we say we are, or who we think we are. But on the other side, who we truly are, it actually becomes like disguised to us. We can't really see it. So we end up acting and being a certain way and are unable to detect that that's what it is. And this can go on for a period of time in life, right? It can actually develop into what is it called, Mike? Like a diagnosis or something like that. It can develop into something that is much, much larger psychologically. So to become aware that you may or may not, or however you might want to think about this, but to become aware of exactly who you are in this entire process, it's really to align your thoughts, your body, your spirit, to align that together and to just be whatever that is. And so what I learned is that all of these different Joels, they were all me. And if they're all me, then I am me. And there is no difference. So the true piece of this was, do I accept this as me? So we always talk about the A frame: awareness, acknowledgement, acceptance. Became aware, I acknowledge, actually all of these versions are really me. Like, I am the jokester, I am the serious guy. That's exactly who I am. I opened up with the joke. I was like, I am that I am. Then I was like, hold on, that's God's name. So, but you understand what I mean. It's I am that I am. I'm his son. I'm a child of God. So I am that I am. That's my surname. So it's like, when I recognized it, acknowledged it, and accepted it, I found that one thing helped me. And that was my morals, my principles, my values, my belief system. And I use that to help check myself. Because if this is my actual belief, am I actually living in what I say I believe? Many people say they have faith. Do you walk by it? Do you live by it? Or do you just talk it? My desire is every day of my life to live by what I believe, to live by my principles, to live by my values, to live by it. If for some reason one of those I look and I'm like, hold on, that doesn't really align with me. There's something wrong with that. Then one of my values is that if I find something there, then I'll investigate it and make the adjustment. So when I found that, that's when I was able to like truly align and getting back to the brain and the synapses. So the electrons.
Hold on. Hold on. Come on now. You gotta let that simmer for a little bit. What you just said. I know we getting back to the brain and the synapses, but what you just said was a whole heap of that. That was deep. so so let this I gotta let this integrate in my mind and body and soul and in gut and heart, because that's right there is what you just said was a gem. That alignment, that acceptance of it all. This one Joel. I don't want to be fragmented, right? And we can end up living ourselves that this is a part of that performative nature that a person can have. Oh, when I'm here, I'm this, and when I'm here, and I'm not saying that we don't communicate differently to the environment. I'm sure the way the brother talks to his son is going to be something different than the way he talks to me. Like it can't. It's just what it makes sense. Like it would be a low level of communication for me to have the same conversation with Elijah that I'm going to have with Joe. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what we're saying. How he talks to his wife, he can't talk to me the same way he talks to Kathy. That doesn't jive, right? Like that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that, okay, I'm going to be Mike here, but then the way I run my life is going to be Mike when I'm, worshiping or at my place of worship. Or is this going to be Mike when he's out, whatever? Like it's a different kind of Mike. No, when you see me, whether you see me at the gym and in the gym, I think everybody we can congregate at the gym. I'll use that because a lot of people congregate from all different walks of life. You might see your coworkers in there. You might see your people who you worship with in there. You might see your friends. You might see your family in there. And if those three people just happen to converge on you at the same time, you're not just like doing a different kind of thing. Like I didn't know you was like that. Or I didn't know you were like that. I didn't know you had these. And it's not about the other people, but this is you playing this kind of this game with yourself, right? But when you say, "Oh, you know what? All this is me," and then I think the dope part, what you said, was when I accept it, because that awareness piece is something like jolting. Like there's something about this that's kind of not jiving here, right? And then and then when you get to that part of where you accept it, like, well, these are all me. And first off, they're all okay, right? I think that I wanted to speak on that. Like it's all okay, and then I get to make the adjustment. We talk about the A framework, and the adjustment doesn't necessarily mean that you are actively doing something. You're just you're being in this thing, right? Now, we're not saying that the adjustment or whatever that part is like you're just, now all of a sudden you're doing something different, so to speak. You could, maybe, how you show up. That could be it, but it's not necessarily this mental gymnastics. Sometimes I think we think like breakthroughs are like, like you just start floating or something. Like, I don't know what people think a breakthrough is. But when you're in that being, it's just like you just wake up and you're just like, I am this way. I noticed that. Especially if you keep a journal, you'd be like, oh, this is what I was talking about 5 years ago, or if you saw yourself, and now all of a sudden this is something different. And then I think as we embody it, the believing, what you believe in and the faith in, and you embodying, I call it demonstrating. When we're demonstrating it on a day-to-day basis, it's just, it exudes that. it doesn't even matter what anybody else thinks. That I think we start to switch and we start to believe what other people think. This is a part of it, because a part of us wants to be accepted by the tribe. It's a need, right? It's one of the hierarchy of needs, is to be accepted into the tribe or to have a tribe. Man cannot do it alone. No man is an island. But once you become yourself, it's like, I accept me. And part of these things that's happening is that people may start to fall off to the wayside because they can't accept it. And that's nothing I could do about that. You know what I mean? It's just, but the people, more importantly, other people, you'll be attracted to you. So for that connect of this, connecting and it's almost like you're connecting all these the mics, right? The identities, and to form this identity. And then I loved what you said about the morals, the values, and the principles, right? And you live by that. This is a part of the embodiment nature of it. And guess what? When new information comes, you can have a different iteration of it, right? Like this iteration, it's like, okay, well, I know I was using this fork to eat soup, but then Joel gave me a spoon, and this is a little this gets it going, right? So it's not that I'm still eating the soup, right? I just found this. Joel just gave me something that I never knew existed, right? So I'll take the thing, but then someone may hand me a fork, or excuse me, a knife to eat the soup with. It doesn't work. Yeah, I got something different, something that's working for me over here, right? You can keep your knife at the same time, but hey, do what you do. I got a spoon. You want to try that if you want. It's fine or not, right? But it's just that embodiment and that demonstration of it. Once you come to that point that you came to, brother, that I just learned to accept myself, and it's perfect the way it is. And matter of fact, when I look in the past, as far as I'm concerned, every iteration of Michael was perfect. I needed that. It made me it made me who I am today, to be cliche, right? Like it's like I needed that, and I accept that. There's times when I'm like, I couldn't, and now I'm starting to catch that point. Well, what, Mike? What? Because that's shame, really. What is that shame coming up? Right? This feeling of shame that you could have did something. What is that about? And you get to work through that, because if you don't address this shame, there's something. It turns into something else, right? Because now you're not really what I call processing these things. Stop. Understand this feeling. It's perfect. We're perfect in the now. This in the connecting now. But I thought that was awesome, brother. That thought process. A lot of our stories. I think I was listening to Guy Ritchie once on the Joe Rogan podcast, and Guy Ritchie makes all of these different movies, and he spoke about most storylines are the coming together of all these different pieces. They may have like different names, right? They may say, one is King Arthur, one is Merlin, one is this, but it's really all of them just coming together and noticing that, this is self. It's all these things combined. So I loved it, man. I guess I'd call it alignment. That was deep. If you want to talk about the brains and the synapses, we can. But I thought that part was super incredible for someone to catch.
Leave it there.
Awesome. Are we going to talk about the phone call or no?
Now we have to talk about it on the next time.
All right.
You can give me a phone call. I'll be happy to talk with you.
Yeah. I want you to take care of what you got to take care of, brother, man. I know it's God willing and the creek don't rise, we'll definitely have that conversation. For sure,
man.
Sure. Guys, this is I'll leave it at this. We're diving into connection, this series. And we would love for you to dive in with us and engage with us on this series, and see how it processes, because I can guarantee you, whether the series is 3 or 4 episodes or whatever it is, by the end of it, if you dive in with us, by the end of this, right, you'll see like the progression. You'll start to, I mean, look how deep you'll get into connection. By the time we finish this, we're gonna be deeply connected. You know, pun intended, right? So I think it's awesome. Any last words, bro?
Appreciate you, man. Enjoyed it as always.
Yeah, likewise. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. God willing, and the creek don't rise. Peace.
Yo, check the mic, 1, 2, Beacon is the name. Lights up the city, ain't playing no games. Joel Simmons and Michael Seville, the vision is clear. Dropping knowledge, conquering all of your fear. Beacon, beacon, that's the sound of the future. The main hosts are here, they built the whole structure. Community strong, we rise from the ground, the beacon power up. Yeah, time to look.